Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining me today. I am Lee Rhodes, and I'm a financial advisor specializing in mortgages and insurance. I am the founder of Rhodes Advisory, and I've been in the financial service industry for just over 13 years. Since January this year, between myself and my colleague Jonathan, we've helped clients raise over £13 million in mortgages so far. We hope by the end of the year this is going to be something close to 15 or 16 million. As a business, we're a financial services business, and we specialise in mortgages and also mortgage-related insurances, so buildings and contents insurance, life and critical illness insurance, as well as income protection. We focus in the practice on two things, really, two main things. These are expertise and good service to our clients. We know what we're doing. We put in the research. We put in a lot of work, and we really want to get for you not just the best mortgage based on rates, but the best mortgage suitable for you, for the criteria that you fit. You might be self-employed. You might be on a lower income, a higher income, foreign income. So whatever we can do, we put in the expertise, we put in the research, and we get you hopefully the most appropriate mortgage and then insurance services for your needs. We listen really carefully. Rhodes Advisory business, we're an appointed representative of a network called Openwork, and they're an award-winning network, one of the largest financial advice networks in the UK. And what does that do? That gives us access to a huge support network, but also on top of that, exclusive rates not found on the high street. So you might walk into a bank, Halifax for instance, they'll offer you a rate. There's a very good chance we're actually going to beat that, get a better rate for you than you've been offered in the branch. So what I must say, first of all, before I sort of go into to the actual live, please remember today's Facebook Live, I'm not giving personal or tailored advice. I can't do that in this forum. I'm just going to give talk generally about mortgages and the mortgage market. But anything I say shouldn't be relied upon as personal advice at this stage. Obviously, if you want some individual personal advice, that's what today's all about. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your questions today, which I'm happy to answer. And if you want to then take that on further, give us a call, get in touch. We can then hopefully give you some personalised advice that suits your circumstances. One final sort of reminder, your home property may be repossessed if you do not keep up repayments on the mortgage or any other debt secured on it. So please do be very careful. So what is it we do? What are our services? We do mortgage advice and insurance advice. And in terms of mortgages, who can we advise? We can advise anyone really, whether it's a really simple remortgage on a mortgage you've had for many years, all the way through to really complex cases, buy-to-lets, first-time buyers. But you name it, we can help you. We hope to be able to help you. We have access to over 50 lenders, so we're going to go out there. We're going to do the work for you on those lenders. We're not just going to go to one bank that you might go into the high street or two or three. We're going to look at 50 plus lenders for you to suit you, to sort your circumstances. So yes, of course, we're going to look for the best rate for you. But on top of that, will that lender lend to you? Because each bank has its own individual criteria, and your circumstances need to fit with that lender. Just to add in, if you do want to ask any questions as we go along, please do put them up on the screen. I believe it will come up and pop up and show me how to do that. So please do ask, and I'll do my best to answer as we go along. Our advice is regulated, as I mentioned before. We are an appointed representative of Openwork. Openwork last year, they actually arranged over £13 billion worth of mortgages. So we do know what we're doing. Fully covered by the Financial Service Compensation Scheme, the Financial Ombudsman as well. So you're fully protected if you do come to us for your mortgage and insurance advice. And as I mentioned earlier, we do get some preferential and exclusive rates. On top of mortgages and insurance, we can refer you to some great partners, solicitors, estate agents, bridging and development loans, second charge mortgages. Need the help? Let us know. We've been working with these people for a long time, and we will do our very, very best to pass on the right people to help you with your needs. So who are we? I'm Lee Rhodes. I'm founder of Rhodes Advisory. I have partner Jonathan Rothbart. He's been in the industry for 14 plus years of financial services. Previously worked in the Lloyd's insurance markets as a project manager, and he's a qualified mortgage and protection advisor. Likewise, I've been in financial services for coming up to 13 years. I was previously a director of a successful consumer lending company, which we sold a couple of years ago, and I'm also a qualified mortgage and protection advisor. Who do we deal with? Well, in terms of lenders, we deal with loads, and I said 50 plus names that you'll recognise from Halifax and NatWest, Santander, HSBC, Accord Mortgages, the Post Office and Bank of Ireland. Generally, we deal with all the big names as well as some real specialist lenders. So if you've got, if you're not sure of something, if you've got a bit of a quirky circumstance that you need, hopefully we're going to have a lender that we can help you find. Sometimes a smaller building society in the Outer Hebrides are more willing to accept a quirky bit of criteria or a slight difference one of the high street lenders won't allow. Come to us, we're going to find the right place for you to put your requirements. So why come to a broker or an advisor? I actually don't like the word broker. I much prefer advisor, because that's what we advise. We don't just give you a menu and say, here we go, here this is pick one of these. We advise you on what we believe is the best mortgage for your needs, for your requirements, fit your criteria, and the lender that's going to allow you to borrow from them. We don't just say, here we go, let's apply for this one. We are always 99.9% certain that once we have been to we suggested a lender for you, that you're going to be accepted with them. So why use a broker? Instead of, say, going directly into your bank, the one you've banked with for 20 years, or walking into a high street bank. Why come to a broker? Well, it's simple, really. You're going to go into a bank and they're going to offer you their rates. No one else's. They're not going to compare for you. They're not going to tell you immediately if you fit their criteria. They're going to ask you, come in, sit down with us and have a 2-hour meeting. Well, what we will do for you is we will give you the options. We will tell you which lenders we believe will lend to you. We will go to the 50 plus lenders that we deal with, and we will speak to them all. We will check the criteria, and we will come back to you and say, here we go. These are the 5 lenders that will work, that will lend. These are the rates. This is the best rate for you. This is why, and we'll give you one option. So we're going to go out. We're going to do all the groundwork for you. Instead of you having 10 meetings for 2 hours in months, you'll have one meeting with us. We'll go away. We'll do the research. And what we're going to do is we're going to support you throughout the whole process. So we're going to check all your documentation. We are going to support you, hold your hand. We're going to put the application in for you. We're going to be the ones on the phone to the lender for you, chasing them up, making sure that they've got the right information. We're efficient. We're doing this day in, day out. We know the processes. So we are going to make sure that everything we're going to keep you up to date. We're going to say to you, this is going to take 5 days. This is going to take 3 days. This is going to take a day. We will give you updates at all relevant stages, so you know exactly where you are at. And we work to your schedule. If it's a remortgage and you've got 3 months notice and to get it done, that's not a problem. We can take our time. If you've got an urgent, you're buying a new property, or you've got a remortgage coming up that you've forgotten about, or you didn't get notice from, we'll work as quickly as we can to get that thing through for you. Also, you're always welcome in our office. You'll come down, you have a chat with us, we'll make you a lovely cup of tea. We're very friendly. We're going to walk you through the process. Whether you're a first-time buyer and you've got no experience whatsoever, or you're a seasoned professional, you've done this, let us take the hassle away for you. Why come to us over another broker? Well, it's a good question. We're good at what we do. We really are experts in the mortgage and protection field, the mortgage insurance field. We'll get back to you. Every time you call us, you'll speak to myself or my partner, John. We are people who are not dealing with a bank of administrators. We will hold your hand the whole way through. We're efficient with that. If you email us, we might be in a meeting, we're going to come back to you the same way. We're always going to look after you. Our business is absolutely made on on referrals and people knowing how good we are and telling their friends and family to use us. So that's what we try to as if we're going to support you. We'll be on the phone with you to your estate agent. We'll be on the phone to solicitor, chasing everything up, pushing things through, and helping you get that through. We know the lender's criteria inside out. Some lenders deal with a much smaller range of lenders, don't give you some brokers have a much smaller panel of lenders. So we work with 50 plus lenders. We know their criteria inside out, and if we don't know, we're going to go away for you, and we're going to find out exactly who will lend to you and what amount they will lend to you. We're not robots either. We're here. We can have a conversation with you. We can fully understand the situation, especially if it's not 100% vanilla or straightforward. So we are, experts in what we do, and we will help you there. I'm pleased to say we've put together a list of sort of questions that we get asked on a regular basis. So haven't had any questions through. Again, please, if you do want to ask me a question, I'm going to be on here for a while. But if you do want to ask me any questions, do pop it up on the screen. I'd be happy to help. But I have got some questions here that I sort of written out a list beforehand. We get asked the same questions a lot. We get asked different questions. So I'm going to sort of have a go at answering some of them for you. And if you've got any additional questions, please do feel free to ask away. So first of all, we got asked a while ago, who are our clients? Well, pleased to report that everyone is our client. Anyone who needs a mortgage, anyone who needs any insurance services, we can help you. If you're a first-time buyer, if you're a landlord, if you're moving house, you're upsizing, you're downsizing, you've got a problem with your current mortgage, your term is running out, come to us. We're going to try and find you a solution and a great solution for your needs. Interest rates. It's a good question. People are asking about interest rates at the moment. What is going to happen to interest rates? Obviously, interest rates went up in August by 0.25%. Are they going to go up again? So very, very good. Brad Lazarus, you've asked a question. I don't mean. Can you expand it a little bit for us, Brad? It says, are there any? But I haven't got the rest of the question. So if you can ask a fuller question, that'd be great. Maybe it's referring to something I was talking about a minute ago, but I didn't pick up on that. But do feel free to write another question, Brad. Interest rates, are they going to go up? Question is who. It really is a good question. Who knows is the answer. However, are there any lenders we cannot access? Sorry, Brad. Yes, as I mentioned before. We work from a panel that's 50 plus lenders on the panel. If we can't find you a lender from our panel, we can go off the panel to whole market, the whole world of UK based lenders. However, there are a couple of lenders who don't deal with brokers at all. They're like First Direct, for instance. So you wouldn't get a rate from us. Although what we would always do is let you know if we can find, or if you could go direct, say to someone like First Direct, not through us, and we say to you, we can't do it for you. But there are very few lenders that we cannot access. So First Direct are one of them. Going back to interest rates, are they going to go up? The consensus in the market is yes, rates are probably going to continue rising over the next few years. We've had 2 rate rises since the low of 0.25%, and we do expect in the short to medium term and probably a bit longer term they will rise. Do we think they're going to rise hugely? Absolutely not. We think it's going to be slow and steady. When do we think we're going to see the next jump? I think probably after Brexit, but I can't guarantee that, I'm afraid. In my opinion, though, that is probably after March, and depending on how the US do, we may follow suit a bit sooner. But probably certainly once the Brexit negotiations are over and done with. Someone's asked if we can talk through the mortgage process. Absolutely, we can. It's not a problem at all. So what we always do is aim to get your requirements from you and understand you at the beginning. So we will meet with you and we will sit down with you and probably for about an hour discuss what it is you're trying to do, understand your circumstances, what your income is, what your expenditure is, what your commitments are, that type of thing. And then we will go away and we will do the research on your behalf, as I mentioned earlier. And hopefully after a day or two, we'll come back to you and we'll say, here we go. This is the mortgage that we recommend for your needs. And once we have done that, once you're happy, then we will go ahead. We will place that application for you with the lender, and we will follow that all the way through. The solicitors being appointed, we will follow that all the way through for you until completion, offer the mortgage, and then exchange completion. How much can I borrow is a question that we get asked a lot. The answer is generally somewhere around 4.5 times your income. However, different lenders set different criteria, and it also depends on what commitments you have. You may have another mortgage, you may have a loan, you may have car finance, credit card debt, or overdraft debt. This will reduce the amount you can borrow. So what we tend to say is people up front, give us your income, give us your expenditure information. We will go away and we will work that out. As a rule of thumb, somewhere around between 4 and 5 times what your income is. And if you're married or you have a partner that you're purchasing with, then it's somewhere between 4 and 5 times your joint income. But we always have to take away from that your committed expenditure. Documents that you need to provide to us, we will always need to see your last 3 months payslips if you're employed, and if you are self-employed, we will always ask for a minimum of 2 years tax calculations. On top of that, we'll need to see some photo ID, and we will need to see proof of address dated in the last 3 months. We always ask for a minimum of 3 months current account bank statements, and that way we can go through them for you, check what your commitments are, run them past you, say we've seen this, this, and this on your bank statement. Do you agree? Is there anything else we need to know about? But it's always helpful for us to know. What's going on in your bank account. Of course, lenders sometimes do ask for more information and for more documentation, and we can come back to you at any time and ask you for those documents. But we do generally ask for most things up front. I've had another question from Brad Lazarus. Thanks for joining us, Brad. How do lenders generally assess income of business owners who take salary and dividend? So there are 2 ways, Brad, to the wider audience. There are 2 ways that different lenders have different ways of dealing with this. Some lenders will assess you on the salary and the dividend, and we'll pick that up from your tax calculation. That's why they look for 2 years. So salary plus dividend, times that by sort of between 4 and 5. That's going to be your rough borrowing amount. Other lenders, and this is where it gets interesting. Sometimes we can get a higher amount for you, and these other lenders will use salary plus net share of net profit in the limited company, which is sometimes you may not take the whole amount as a dividend, and you've left some of your profits retained in the business. So depending on the lender, and again, it's so you can come to us, we will assess this for you and look at which lender to go to based on how much you actually need to borrow. And based on what your tax calculations are showing, so whether your salary and dividend or your share of net profit are higher. Hope that helps, Brad. Do contact us if you want some sort of fuller advice and some more detailed analysis of your calculations. Another question we've had, how has Help to Buy benefited the market? And do I have any thoughts on Help to Buy? I think it's really great to help first-time buyers get on the ladder. In London, you can borrow interest-free for the first 5 years up to 40% of the amount you need to purchase the new build property. You have to be careful because not every new build property is available on the Help to Buy scheme. But in London, as I say, generally you can borrow up to 40% from the government of the purchase price. Up to £600,000 is the maximum on Help to Buy. So if you're purchasing a place at 600,000 new build, the government will lend you tax-free for 5 years, £240,000. You need a minimum of 5% of your own deposit to add to that, which you would do, and then you borrow the rest on a mortgage. And the mortgage application side of it, again, is pretty straightforward. Once you've got the Help to Buy in place, we can help you with that. It's really good especially for youngsters who don't have got some nice income coming in, but don't have a massive a deposit saved yet. Really helpful. Rates. I'm not going to talk too much about. People always ask what's the best rate out there. I'm not going to say too much on rates right now because rates vary so much on the type of product you're going for, and also your loan to value, so the size of your deposit. There's no point I could tell you some great rates of 1 point something percent on here. You may not qualify for it. So right now, as I said, if you do want some personal sort of illustrations based on your personal circumstances, do get in touch. Contact details are just behind me as well. Website is www.rhodesadv.com. Contact number here in the office is 0203 488 3773. We would absolutely love to hear from you. Have got a couple more questions on my list. Had a couple from Brad. If anyone else does want to ask, please do give us. We've probably got another 3 or 4 minutes on this live. So do ask your question on here, and I'll get round to it before we close off. Someone's asked me, do you see this as a good time to buy? I do actually. I think it's a bit of a buyer's market at the moment. Not my advice to go out and buy a place now, but prices have come down. Especially we're based in London. We've seen quite a bit of price movement downwards. It's not falling off a cliff, but we do think now is not a bad time to buy. Can prices continue to fall? Of course they can. We're hoping next year though. We're hoping Brexit gets announced, gets sorted out and gets cleared up a bit, and we really do hope that that prices in London may start to stabilise. Hopefully, we may even see a little bit of an upward turn. But is now a good time to buy? We think it probably is. We certainly don't think it's awful. Are banks lending easily at the moment, or are they holding back? We've seen a little bit of tightening. It's since 2008 and the crash, and banks really tightened up on what they would lend and how and who to. Over the last 10 years, that has been relaxed. We used to get lenders looking at minute details on bank statements and pay slips. That's definitely, they're not asking for as much information as they were 10 years ago or 8 years ago or 6 years ago. Started to, just in the last few months, I think, since the Brexit stuff has really been in the news and just seen a little bit of, especially on the valuation of property side, we've seen things just start to tighten up a little bit. Few valuations are on the lower side than people are offering. There's not a huge amount we can do about that. Valuations are undertaken by independent surveyors. Of course, if the valuation does get, if the property does get valued lower than you're expected to pay for it, then you've often had agreed, we'll help you do the research to find some comparisons to show back to the lenders, and also help you negotiate with your tell you how to negotiate with the estate agent and with the people you're buying from, and give you our help along with that. What are my thoughts on current stamp duty rates? They are what they are. It's certainly suppressed the buy-to-let market somewhat, especially the foreign buyers market. But we have what we have. There are some good breaks for first-time buyers still out there, and if you're buying a property, you're buying a property. Unfortunately, stamp duty is what it is. Life and death and taxes are three certainties in life, and so we just have to hit the stamp duty on the chin. I'm not sure there'll be any changes in the near future. How do I get a mortgage if I'm on maternity leave? That's a great question that someone sent in to us last week, actually. It's very possible. We'll always need to know your salary before you went on maternity leave. And as long as you're still employed by the company, you haven't quit your job, you've actually gone on maternity leave and you're still getting your statutory maternity pay, or you're in those last couple of months where you don't get the statutory, but you're making arrangements to go back to work. We need to know what you were earning before you went on maternity pay. We need to know what you're going to go back to work on. If you're going back on the same hours that you're going back, great. If your hours are going to change, you're going to cut down from 5 days a week to 3 days or whatever it might be. Same with paternity leave. We can help. We should be able to use those pre maternity figures to get you a mortgage if you're going to go back on the same hours, and if you're going to change your hours, just a letter usually from your employer confirming, yes, we're going back to work and this is what salary is going to be. Can I buy if my income is in foreign currency? Absolutely. Again, something that my colleague Jonathan is dealing with today. Is someone who chap is paid in another currency, doesn't live in the UK full time, but wants a base here. Absolutely not for every lender, but we can absolutely help with that. It's weird and wonderful. We're up for a challenge, so please do get in contact, and we will do our very best. Again, I have a visa to be in the UK, but I don't have indefinite leave to remain. I'm not a UK citizen. Can you help? Again, we can. Recently got someone on a mortgage who'd only been in the country for 6 weeks. Had a 5-year visa, 4.5, just under 5 years left remaining on it. Can we help? Absolutely, we can. Get in touch, please do. Tell us your query, tell us your questions, tell us your situation. We will go and do the research for you. We will go out there and do our very, very best to find you a lender who can help. I think we're going to wrap things up there. I've got a couple more questions on my list, but I've probably gone on long enough about mortgages. Thank you for tuning in. Please do get in touch if you need me, or you need Jonathan, or you need any advice for your mortgages. I haven't really touched much on the insurance side of things, but we are also specialists in protection, life insurance, critical illness insurance, buildings and contents insurance. We have some great providers and some great insurers. So do get in touch. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you for having me today. It's been a pleasure to do it. Hope I've done you all proud. Hope you enjoyed it, and do let us know personally. Do come back to us if you have any other questions. Thank you.